Hey guys, okay, so this is a recording for example 3 from section 7.6, okay. The direction says use the information given about the angle, which is called theta, and theta is restricted between 0 to 2 pi, inclusive at 0, but not inclusive at 2 pi. To find the exact value of, and then we have 1i, 2i, 3i, 4i, 5i, and 6i. Okay, so let's slowly work this out. Make sure we're neat. Okay, doesn't look like I gave you too much space, so I'm going to try my best to fit it all in here. Okay, if not, we'll just get a new piece of paper. So we'll start with sine of 2 theta. This is a double angle, so we will need to use the double angle formula for sine of 2 theta. But let's start out with looking at the given information, okay? They said, hey, cosine of theta is negative 2 over 5, and theta is in quadrant number 3. So what I would do first is I would draw this triangle out. And I would draw it up here since I know I will have a limited space, okay? So here's quad 3. That's why I'm just going to focus on this. So quad 3, let's draw the triangle, okay? Theta, it's in quad 3. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Then I would need to find that y value. Let's use Pythagorean theorem. So y squared is what I'm looking for, plus negative 2 squared equals 5 squared. So y squared plus 4 equals 25. Move the 4 over, so y squared equals 21. So you know y is going to be square root of 21. Okay, now because y is in quadrant number 3, it will also be negative. So now I have a negative square root of 21. So now that we have the triangle given to us, we will now write down the identity for double angle of sine, which is 2 sine of theta cosine of theta. Okay, well, I know exactly what sine of theta is, right? Sine of theta is going to be, look back at the triangle, right there. Okay, so sine of theta is going to be negative 2 over 5, but first let's drop down the 2. Okay, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so that's negative 2 over 5 times cosine of theta. Cosine of theta, oops, I did that completely wrong, didn't I? Sine is opposite, which is negative rad 21 over 5. Cosine of theta is given to us right here, which is negative 2/5, or you can even look at adjacent over hypotenuse, which is the same thing, negative 2 over 5. I'm sorry about the sign. Sine is opposite, so we are now correct at negative rad 21 over 5. Now we are going to slowly distribute this out, so we are going to have a positive 4 rad 21 all over 5. Rad 21 we can't, I'm sorry, over 25. Oh my gosh, sorry. I'm having an off day. Which happens a lot, doesn't it? Okay, rad 21 can't simplify any further, so guess what? That is my final answer for 1i. Okay. Now let's do 2i's. I'm going to use a different color because I know I'm going to be running out of space. I'm going to try my best to squeeze that all in here. 2i says that I'm looking for cosine. You know what? Let me move it up because I know I'm going to need all the space, okay? 2i. Cosine of 2 theta. Now, cosine of double angle is you're gonna have a bunch of different identities, 3 to be exact. So I'm gonna pick one that's gonna be easiest for me. Now, the reason I picked this one is because the original was already given to us as cosine. I don't have to find sine, so I'm just gonna use what's given originally. So now we have 2 times quantity, negative 2 over 5. I will square that. Then I will subtract 1. Then from here, we're going to work out the math slowly. So 2 times, this is 4 over 25. Take away 1. We're just going to give 8 over 25. Subtracting 1 is like subtracting 25 over 25 due to common denominator. So now I would end up with a negative 17 over 25. So this is the final answer for cosine of a double angle. Next, we will go over to do 3i's. Okay. Now, all of these are really applying the identities. Okay, so if you have it memorized, then it's just going to be so much easier for you. Now, do you have to memorize them? Yes, you are not going to be provided at all of any of these identities. Okay, so 3i says you are asked to find sine of a half angle. Okay, now the sine of a half angle is you're going to start with a plus or minus. Okay, then I'm going to do a radical 1 minus cosine of theta all over 2, still under the radical. Then from here, I have to decide, okay, is it positive or is it negative? Now let's look at what theta is. Theta is in quadrant number 3, okay? So what if I'm doing half? Half means I'm dividing it by 2, okay? So let's take this right here. This is what theta is. Let's take this over here, okay? Just to make it bigger. Theta divided by 2, okay? That means I would also have to divide the left side of the inequality by 2. And I would also have to divide the right side of the inequality by 2. Dividing by 2 is like multiplying by a half. So now, half of theta, it's going to be pi over 2 to 3 pi over 4. Well, where is that? Pi over 2 is right here, right? And then 3 pi over 4 is right here. So you are in quadrant number 2. So half angle is really in quad 2. In quad 2, sine would be positive. I'm writing the positive down, but eventually I'm not going to because, you know, I don't need to carry the positive, right? Positive, if it's negative, I would definitely have to carry it throughout. So here we go. 1 minus cosine of theta is already known, back to here, okay? So cosine theta is a negative 2 divided by 5. Divide all of this by 2, which I'm going to write it as a multiplication of a half. Then from here, let's do some basic math. Big radical again. I'm going to find the common denominator, which is now 5 over 5. 2 additions make it positive. I'm sorry, 2 subtractions make it positive. 2/5 times a half. Okay, this is going to give me 7 over 5 times a half. So that's going to give me what? What would that give me? 7 over 10. Okay. Now that's like radical 7 over radical 10, which now I need to rationalize the denominator. Okay, so here comes my final answer. Are you ready? Big radical 70 all over 10. Okay, and radical 70 is 7 times 10, which neither one of those is going to help us simplify. All right, so that is 3i. Now we are going to do 4i's. I'm going to use different color. 4i's is half angle of cosine. Okay, let's move it over here. Now, just to remind you, if you need to pause to finish copying, then do so. Okay, so cosine of a half angle over 2 equals, again, plus or minus big radical 1 plus cosine of theta divided by 2. Now we have to go back and decide whether we pick negative or positive, okay? Earlier we mentioned about half angle, and half angle of theta is in quadrant number 2, okay? The original theta, was in quad 3, but half of it's now in quad 2. In quad 2, cosine is definitely going to be negative. So now I have to carry the negative sign in front all the way through. So now I'm going to write 1 plus negative, cosine is negative 2 over 5, okay, because that's what we have right here, okay. Now dividing by 2 is like multiply by 1/2, so I'm going to do that. Then from here, I will slowly simplify this. Common denominator again, which is 5 over 5, take away 2 over 5, now times a half again, okay. I'm out of space, so that goes here, which is now still negative in the front. 5 over 2 minus 2 over 5 is now going to be 3 over 5 times a half is now 3 over 10. So now 3 over 10 is exactly the same as negative rad 3 over 10. I would now have to rationalize the denominator. So here comes the finale, negative answer, rad 30 all over 10. And that is my final answer for 4i's. All right, let's see. So that's 1i, 2i's, 3i's, 4i. We have two more, okay? Tangent of a double and tangent of a half. So notice how we're kind of doing all of them, okay? So, excuse me. Let's use green, okay? We are going to do 5. Tangent of a double. Tangent of a double, here we go. For this tangent of a double, I'm using this identity. I'm using 2 tangent of theta all over 1 minus tangent square of theta, okay? So from here, I'm going to slowly find out what tangent is. So work with me, okay? So here we go. Let's go back to the triangle. Tangent is going to be opposite, okay? So tangent is going to be opposite over adjacent. So opposite is negative 2. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Opposite is not negative 2. Opposite is negative 20 root 21 over adjacent, which is negative 2. So this is opposite. This is adjacent. Okay. So opposite is negative root 21 over negative 2. So a negative over negative is going to be a positive. Okay. So tangent of theta is positive root 21 over 2. So let's start writing. I'm going to bring down the 2. Okay. And we just mentioned that tangent is opposite, which is negative root 21 over negative 2, which is a positive root 21 over 2. Okay, that's my numerator. Divided by 1 minus tangent square. I already have the tangent, so I'm just going to put the square. Square root of 21 over 2. Then from here, I'm going to slowly work this out, cancel out things when I can. I can totally make the 2 into a fraction, so these 2 will cancel. Okay, so on the top, I now will have square root of 21 divided by, on the bottom, I will distribute the square power. So here we go. When I distribute the square power, I would now have 1 minus root 21 squared is 21. 2 squared on the bottom is now 4. Then from here, I'm going to attempt to find common denominator. Okay, so now it's going to be root 21 still all over 4 over 4. Minus 21 over 4. So now root 21 on the top still, all over. 4 take away 21 is going to be a negative 17 over 4. Now when you're dividing fraction, that's like multiplying, it's reciprocal. I will make the numerator over 1, okay? Times the reciprocal is 4 over negative 17, or you can put the negative in the front. Then from here, I will have negative, I'm going to put the negative on the top, 4 root 21 all over 17. And this is as far as I can go in terms of simplifying. Because 21 is 3 times 7, and that's not going to help us out at all. Okay, so that is 5i's. We have one last one, which is 6i. 6i is going to ask us to do the half angle of tangent. Okay, so here we go. 6i's. Now, if you don't have enough space, just do it on the back of your notes or on scratch paper, and just you can just attach it. Okay. 6i is asking us to do tangent of a half angle of theta. So I'm going to use sine of half angle divided by cosine of half angle. I'm pretty sure that there are other formulas or other ways that you can find half angle, but this to me is one less thing for me to memorize. Okay. So I'm going to use 1 minus cosine of theta all over radical 1 plus cosine of theta. Okay, and then again, there's still plus or minus in front, so we have to decide. Let's go back to our half. Half angle, it's going to be in quad 2, or was decided earlier from calculation. That's in quad 2. So because it is in quad 2, I'm going to pick the negative for tangent. So negative big radical 1 minus cosine earlier was given in the original problem right here, okay, as negative 2/5. So negative 2/5 divided by 1 plus -2/5, okay? From here, there are multiple ways to simplify, okay? So you go and simplify whatever method you wish. I'm just going to start with finding common denominator. So carry the negative over. Common denominator is 5/5 plus 2/5, okay? Divided by 5/5 minus 2/5. And keep on going. So here we go. So on the top, I would have a negative square root of 7/5, okay? All over on the bottom, I would now have a square root of 3/5. Two different radicals can be put together as one big radical, so keep that in mind. So 7/5, like divided by big radical, 3/5, like that. When you're dividing fractions, it's like multiplying by its reciprocal. So here we go. 7/5 times 5/3. That's the reciprocal. So now that's the case, I will cancel out my 5's, okay? And I would now have a negative radical 7. Because it's under one big radical, now I will break it out to make smaller. The reason is that some of you will understand how I rationalize better when I break it apart. So this will lead me to a negative square root, equals to negative square root of 21 all over 3. And this is my final answer for 6i's. Tangent of a half angle. Now, if this seems really confusing, please do pause, rewind a little bit wherever you were stuck at. I wrote down every single step that I can think of. If it's still not clicking, please ask me questions in class. And you have a wonderful day.